I came home early from work to surprise my wife with lunch. Instead, I found her on the kitchen counter with a sewer maintenance guy she met at a plumbing supply store. She didn't scream. She didn't cover up. She looked me dead in the eyes and laughed. That laugh still echoes in my head. And no, I didn't walk away. I stood there. And what happened next changed everything. It was a Thursday. I only remember it because I packed her favorite sandwich and decided to bring it to her on my lunch break. I thought she'd be touched. That's who I was back then. Pathetic, to be honest. Always trying too hard. Always hoping that a little kindness would fix what was wrong between us. I parked a block away. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted it to be a surprise. Maybe I was just proud of myself. I even rehearsed what I'd say when I walked in. Something sweet. Something that would make her smile again. But the moment I opened the front door, I knew something was wrong. It was too quiet. The air smelled funny, like sweat and bleach. Then I heard it. A growl. And then her voice. Hi. Not scared. Just excited. I walked into the kitchen. And that's when I saw them. She was half naked, sitting on the counter. Her legs were wrapped around a man in blue overalls, her back stained with grease. He still had his rubber boots on. His hands were dirty. On the floor was a belt with dish soap, a flashlight, and what looked like a drain snake. She saw me before he did. And you know what she did? She smiled. Then she laughed. You said you'd be working late, she said. I didn't move. The man turned around. He looked confused. Maybe confused. But she wasn't confused. She reached for a paper towel, wiped her mouth, and said, Baby, I want you to meet Chuck. He works at the sanitation station. You always said I needed someone who could get their hands dirty. I stood there with that paper bag in my hand. Her favorite sandwich was crushed in my hands. I couldn't even speak. She looked me up and down and said, Wow, you really are predictable. Until the surprise lunch. Chuck backed away, muttering something about not wanting trouble. But she wasn't finished. You've always trusted too easily, she said. It's sweet. Sad, but sweet. I didn't fight back. I didn't yell. I just walked out the front door and got into my car. I didn't even turn the engine on. I sat there for an hour. That's when everything broke, not with a bang, but with a silence. And I still wanted to believe that maybe there was a reason. Maybe she didn't want this. But deep down I knew. She liked watching me shatter into pieces. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor like it might tell me what to do. She came home sometime around midnight. I heard the key turn, her heels clicking against the hallway tiles. She didn't even try to be quiet. I expected her to come in with excuses, apologies, even anger, anything. But no. She leaned against the bedroom door frame, arms crossed, smirking like she just wants something. You left the sandwich on the counter, she said. Next time, maybe bring flowers. I looked up, and something in my chest collapsed. Not because of what she said, but how easily she said it. Like she hadn't just ripped my heart out and laughed while doing it. I whispered, Why? She tilted her head. Why not? I stood up, finally, my knees trembling. We've been together 6 years. You could have just told me. Told you what? That you're boring? That I can't feel anything when you touch me anymore? That I close my eyes and wish I was somewhere else? Every word hit like a slap. But the worst part? I believed her. I asked, Is it him? That guy today, Chuck? She laughed. Loud. Him? Oh no, sweetheart. He's just Tuesday. I blinked. You have a guy for days of the week? I don't keep track, she said. But I guess you could call it a rotation. She walked past me, grabbed her toothbrush, and said, I used to feel bad about it, you know. Back when I thought you might grow a spine. But now, I think I was just wasting my guilt. I swallowed hard. My throat was dry. I can forgive you. That's what I said. I actually said it. She turned to me, toothbrush in hand, and raised an eyebrow. Forgive me? For what? Not being stupid. Her voice turned mocking. You always believe the best in people. That's your problem. You see a burning house and think maybe it's just cozy lighting. Tears burned in my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. Not yet. I asked, Do you even love me? She wiped foam from her lip, looked me dead in the eye, and said, I love that you're so easy to lie to. Then she walked into the bathroom and shut the door. I stood there like a statue, hands clenched, chest hollow. She was right. I had no spine. But something inside me, small, quiet, started to move. Not rage. Not revenge. Not yet. But the part of me that wanted to forgive? It didn't speak this time. It listened. And it remembered. The next morning, she made pancakes. She was humming. wearing one of my shirts like nothing had happened. I sat at the kitchen table, hands folded, stomach empty. She placed the plate in front of me like we were in a sitcom. I added blueberries. You like blueberries, right? I didn't answer. She sat across from me, scrolling on her phone. Then she smiled at something and let out a little laugh. I wondered which of her guys was texting her. I wondered if he even knew I existed. That's when it started, not the rage. I didn't have the backbone for rage, but something else. A cold kind of clarity. I couldn't win with force. Not against someone like her. She didn't break rules. She bent them until they snapped around other people's necks. But I knew her. I'd studied her for 6 years. And I knew one thing better than anyone. She had to be adored. She had to be seen as the one in control. So I decided to give her what she wanted. For now, I said, thanks for breakfast. She blinked. Look who learned to use his voice again. I smiled. Or tried to. You were right. About me. About everything. That caught her attention. She tilted her head, curious. I went on slowly. I lost myself trying to be what you needed. I stopped being a man and turned into wallpaper. She narrowed her eyes. What is this? Therapy. No, I said. It's surrender. She didn't trust it, not fully, but she liked the sound of it. That afternoon, I started gathering what I needed. First, I opened a new bank account. Just for me. Quiet. Clean. I didn't move much, just a few hundred, but I needed a new name on a new ledger. Then I backed up everything from our shared devices. Every text, every voicemail, every GPS tag. She never turned off location services. She wanted her little trophies to know when she was on her way. She never imagined I'd look at them. Next, I bought a burner phone. I messaged her old coworker, Jenna, the one she hated. The one she said couldn't keep a man or a job. I knew they had history. I didn't want to talk. I just wanted information. Turns out, Jenna had stories. And receipts. I met with her that week. I brought coffee. She brought a flash drive. It had emails. Photos. Even a hotel receipt billed to my ex's name. On a weekend, she told me she was visiting her aunt in hospice. There was no aunt. There never was. By the end of the week, I had a folder labeled evidence. I didn't know what I'd do with it yet, but I held it. I studied it, and I started to see a different future. One where I didn't cry on couches while she laughed in strangers' beds. A future where she looked me in the eyes not with amusement, but with fear. It was still far away, but I could see it. And for the first time, I didn't feel small. I felt ready. It started with the key. She always left her spare in the same place, under the third floorboard on the back porch. I didn't need it for entry. I needed it for control. That Saturday, while she was out getting drinks with coworkers, I let myself in and took 3 things. First, the laptop she swore she only used for work. Second, the old iPad we barely used anymore but she kept near the bed. And third, the ring. The one I saved for a year to buy. I didn't pawn it. I didn't even touch the case. I left a note inside it. You already said yes. Just forgot what it meant. I placed it on her pillow and left. When she came home that night, I watched from my car 2 houses down. I saw the light flick on, then off, then back on. 5 minutes later, she called me. I didn't pick up. She called again, then 10 times in a row. Then the text started. Where's my laptop? What are you doing? If you touched anything private, I swear her. Answer me. Answer me now. I didn't. Instead, I sent a single message. Check the trash folder on your email. 10 seconds later, her typing bubble popped up, then disappeared, then popped up again. I waited. Finally, a reply. We need to talk. But I didn't want to talk. I wanted her to feel something she hadn't felt in months. Uncertainty. I had everything backed up. I'd gone through the files for days. Email threads with men she met at gas stations, on Craigslist, even one from a dog park. And the language she used, it wasn't romantic. It was conquest. Like collecting damaged toys. I started sending screenshots anonymously. Not to her. To the people she used. Men who thought they were special. One had been talking about proposing. Another had introduced her to his mother. One of them replied, Who are you? I said, the one she used to wear the ring for. By the end of that week, 3 of them blocked her. She didn't know how or why. She just knew the attention started drying up. Then came the real blow. She was scheduled to give a presentation at a small business networking event. A friend of mine worked security there. He owed me a favor. He slipped a photo into the check-in folder. It was her, in bed, with Chuck. Same blue jumpsuit. Same utility belt. Same timestamp as the day I caught her. The photo was real, just framed carefully. When she arrived at the desk, she opened the folder. They said her face turned white. She left without saying a word. That night, she didn't call, didn't text, didn't come home. I waited. She finally walked in at 4:17 a.m. She looked at me, no smirk this time, just silence. And for the first time since this started, I saw it in her eyes. She didn't know what I'd do next. She was rattled, and I was just getting started. It began with my boss. I got called into his office on a Tuesday morning. Nothing unusual. I thought it was about the project I'd submitted. Instead, he looked uncomfortable, like he didn't want to be the one talking. "We've received an anonymous complaint," he said. I froze. He continued. "It says you've been misusing your access to company systems, harassing someone, possibly stalking." I couldn't breathe. "She gave them my job?" I whispered. He paused. "We haven't made any decisions yet. But until we sort this out, we have to suspend your access." That afternoon, I was locked out of my company email. My ID badge stopped working. By evening, the HR director called and said I was placed on temporary leave. No paycheck, no benefits. I went home in a fog. She was in the kitchen, sipping wine. "Long day?" she asked, all wide-eyed innocence. I stared at her. She stared back. "You did this," I said quietly. She didn't answer, just walked past me, humming. That night, she turned up the music in the bedroom and FaceTimed someone while I was on the couch trying to hold myself together. I didn't need to listen closely to hear what she said. "He's spiraling. It's honestly kind of sad." She knew exactly how to hit me. Not with noise, with silence from the places that used to matter. She didn't need to argue. She just pulled one thread and let everything unravel. The next day, I tried to log into my bank account. Password didn't work. She hadn't drained the account. She'd locked me out. She still had access because I trusted her, had given her the credentials to help manage bills. Now, she was using that trust to choke off anything that gave me stability. And when I asked her, calmly, if she'd touched the account, she looked at me with wide, fake sympathy and said, "I thought we agreed on boundaries." Then winked. A week later, I got a letter from the leasing office. She filed a complaint saying I was emotionally unstable and possibly dangerous. Said she didn't feel safe. I'd never raised my voice, never touched her, never even yelled. But it didn't matter, because she had the story and I had the silence. They gave me 30 days to leave. My brother let me stay with him. But I was back on his couch, surrounded by boxes, watching her live like nothing happened. She went out to brunch, posted new photos, gained followers on a healing journey account she made just weeks before. She even made a video about surviving gaslighting. I watched it. I watched her cry on camera, say things like, "He broke me down so slowly, I didn't even notice." And people believed her. They sent hearts, comments, support. And me? I sat on the floor of my brother's guest room with my resume open and no idea who I was anymore. She'd won. Again. But just as I thought I couldn't sink lower, something happened. I got a message. From someone I didn't know. "I have something you need to see." She did it to me too. And just like that, the tide started turning. Her name was Kayla. She messaged me through a burner account. Said she couldn't use her real name. Not after what happened. I agreed to meet her in a public place. Quiet, neutral. A library. She looked younger than I expected. Tired. Like someone who'd survived a storm but hadn't dried off yet. "I lived with her," Kayla said. 2 years ago. Roommates. She did the same thing to me. She handed me a flash drive. I hadn't even asked yet. "She fakes everything," Kayla continued. "The crying, the stories, the victim act. She finds people who are kind, men, women, doesn't matter, and drains them." I asked, "Why me? Why now?" She looked at me and said, "Because you're the first one who fought back." When I got home, I opened the drive. It had photos, voice memos, screenshots of group chats from back then. But most importantly, a video, a screen recording, Zoom call, timestamped from last year. My ex, smiling into the camera. "I got him to move out today," she says in the video, laughing. "He thinks it's his idea. I just kept bringing up space and pretending to cry." Classic. Once he's gone, I can finally switch utilities into my name and flip the story. She literally explained her playbook. I backed up everything, twice, then called my lawyer. This time, we didn't go to HR. We went to a lawyer's lawyer, a firm that handles defamation, digital harassment, an abuse of legal process. We filed a motion to dismiss the fake complaint at my job using the new footage. Filed a petition with the leasing office to reverse the emergency removal claim. Then we drafted a cease and desist with enough attached evidence to make her flinch. And the best part? We sent it from her own father's business address. He was a respected man. She once told me he'd disown her if he ever knew what she really was. We didn't need him to believe it. We just needed her to know we could make him see it. She didn't respond for a full day. Then I got a text. You think this is over? You have no idea who you're messing with. But it was different this time. No confidence. No smirk. Just panic under punctuation. The next morning, she tried logging into my old accounts. Failed twice. Tried to reset my email. Locked out. She was losing grip. Then came the first retreat. She took down the video. The crying monologue. Vanished. Then the healing journey. Account went private. Then I got an email from my old boss. We'd like to revisit your situation. The complaint seems not credible anymore. I wasn't safe yet. But for the first time in weeks, the balance shifted. She wasn't ahead. She was reacting. And I wasn't the only one holding receipts now. I had a witness. I had proof. And I had one question. How many more Kaylas were out there? I should have known she wasn't done. The silence wasn't retreat. It was recalibration. 3 days after the cease and desist, I got a knock on my brother's door. It wasn't her. It was a courier. Legal envelope. Thick. Sealed. Inside, a lawsuit. She was suing me for defamation, emotional distress, and cyber harassment. Again, but this time with a new twist. She'd found Kayla's old landlord. Convinced him to sign an affidavit saying I was the one who reached out first, that I was coercing Kayla to participate in a smear campaign. She even got one of her exes, someone I'd never met, to sign a statement saying I'd contacted him with edited screenshots and manipulated information. I hadn't. But now, she had other people on record, under oath, backing her lies. My lawyer looked at the packet, flipped through the statements, and said one word. Dangerous. She'd turned my strategy against me, used my momentum to frame it as obsession. Now, I wasn't fighting just her. I was up against a narrative. Worse, she released a new video. Professional lighting. Soft music. Cutaways of her walking in nature. I've been quiet lately, she began, voice trembling. Because I've been re-traumatized. My abuser, someone I once trusted, has recruited others to help him destroy me. I watched in disbelief as she talked about Kayla. She was vulnerable, and now she's being used. It didn't matter that Kayla came to me. Didn't matter that I had the timestamp drive. The comment section exploded. People begging for justice. People saying things like, "This is why women don't come forward. Stay strong. We believe you." Men like him always find new targets. I wasn't just the villain now. I was the abuser. A fake one, but that didn't matter to the crowd. She started tagging organizations, victim support groups, domestic trauma nonprofits, and the algorithm loved her. Meanwhile, I got a warning from my bank. Someone tried to access my account with false identity info. Again, my brother got a call from an unknown number asking if he felt safe living with me. She was trying to corner me. Legally, financially, socially. And it was working. I started getting fewer replies from job applications. One recruiter told me, off the record, that someone had contacted them claiming I had an open civil suit for harassment. He didn't say who. He didn't need to. I stayed up that night, staring at the wall. I had the truth, but she had the stage. And for a moment, a dark, paralyzing moment, I believed she might win. Again. But the next morning, my lawyer called. His voice was different. "Remember that recording you gave me?" he said. "The Zoom call?" "Yeah. There's something buried in the background," he said. "You can't hear it clearly at first." But I boosted the audio. I waited. "You're going to want to sit down," he said. And that's when I knew. Something was coming. Something big. I met my lawyer in his office at 9:30 sharp. He didn't waste time. He hit play. It was the Zoom recording from Kayla's flash drive. The same one where my ex bragged about manipulating me into leaving, said she'd flipped the story, and claimed victimhood. But now the background was louder. Cleaned. Boosted. And suddenly, you could hear it. A voice. Not hers. Not Kayla's. A man's voice, faint but clear. "As long as you stick to the script, they won't touch you. Just cry on camera. Works every time." Then laughter. Her laughter. Then. "And if he pushes back? Go nuclear. Police, workplace, legal, all of it. He'll fold." It wasn't just manipulation. It was coached manipulation. Who is that? I asked. My lawyer already had the answer. Simon Green, he said. Freelance PR fixer. Reputation management. Worked with 2 influencers accused of scamming donors. He handed me a file. Simon was under investigation for forging testimonials, scripting fake victim statements, and fabricating mental health narratives for clients under public pressure. And now we had his voice. Coaching her. My lawyer grinned for the first time in weeks. We don't just have evidence now. We have a pattern. And a co-conspirator. He filed an emergency motion. Then a second to bring Simon in for deposition. We sent a formal legal notice to the platforms hosting her content, notifying them of potential fraud and requesting her content be suspended pending the outcome. Then we sent everything, the audio, the background check, the coaching transcript, to the firm that represented the influencer Simon used to work with. They replied within an hour. We're opening a formal investigation. Effective immediately, Simon Green is terminated from our advisory board. That same evening, she posted a story, black screen, no caption, then silence. The next day, 2 of the women who defended her on earlier posts deleted their comments. One of them even posted something vague like, "Sometimes people weaponize trauma. Be careful who you trust." It was starting. Her armor, the followers, the victim narrative, the support network, was cracking. Then came the final blow that week. The platform that hosted her biggest video removed it for misleading conduct and unverifiable claims under review. She tried to appeal. They denied it. The account was flagged. Her followers dropped by 30% in 24 hours. I didn't gloat. I didn't post. I just watched her slowly realize what I'd known for weeks now. She'd used the system like a weapon, but she never imagined the system might turn around and aim back. And just when I thought it couldn't get better, Kayla called. Her voice was shaking. She's scared, she whispered. She tried to reach out to me last night. Said if I don't help her fix it, she'll drag me down with her. I stayed quiet. Kayla asked, "What do I do?" I said, "Nothing." Because now, she was the one with no control. She was the one spiraling. And I was finally holding the match, standing at the edge of everything she built. All that was left was deciding whether to burn it down. I thought I had her. I had the audio. The witnesses. The public sympathy was shifting. For once, people were asking questions instead of just believing her tears. But then, everything stopped. The legal motion stalled. The platform re-enabled her account after a manual review. Her followers bounced back. She went live 2 days later with a carefully worded statement. There are people out there who want to silence survivors. People who doctor evidence, twist reality. I won't name names, but I will say this. I forgive them. Because I'm stronger now. And just like that, she flipped it. Again. Forgiveness. Resilience. Strength. People ate it up. New messages flooded in. You're so brave. We love you. Keep rising above the hate. And then, the biggest twist yet. She filed a countersuit. Defamation. Invasion of privacy. Emotional sabotage, whatever that means. She used the platform's reversal as ammo. Claimed it as proof that I had lied. And worse? She filed it in another state. A jurisdiction I didn't live in. One I'd never worked in. But where Kayla had stayed for a summer, technically making it relevant. It was a trap. Pure legal theater. But it was enough to buy her time. My lawyer looked at me across the desk and said the words I feared most. She's boxed you out. For now. I wanted to scream. Tear something apart. But I didn't. I just sat there. Numb. I'd come so far. Done everything right. And somehow, she still managed to flip the narrative again. The girl crying on camera beat the guy holding receipts. She went on another podcast. This one bigger. National. She told the same story. But this time, she added something new. A name. My name. She said it slowly. Tearfully. Said she wasn't afraid anymore. That she just wanted to heal. But that she had to speak her truth. I listened to every word, alone in the dark, feeling every wall close and around me. I couldn't fight anymore. Not with lawyers. Not with logic. She'd won the court of public opinion. Again. And yet. That night, my lawyer called. You sitting down? He asked. My heart stopped. I just got a response from a subpoena we forgot we filed, he said. The Zoom call? The original? The platform finally released the full metadata and system logs. He paused. There's a second recording. She saved it. Never deleted it. I swallowed hard. And She forgot to mute her mic when the coaching ended. There's 5 extra minutes. It's her bragging, laughing, planning everything. And he said she forwarded that file to someone the same night. Who? He said the name. It wasn't a lawyer. It wasn't Simon. It was someone I didn't expect. And if that person had it, it meant everything she'd said on the podcast, in court, in public, every word could be exposed. One copy, one witness, one email. That's all it would take. She'd won. But now? Now there was a but. The second recording changed everything. It wasn't just damning, it was intentional. A monologue she recorded thinking no one would ever hear it. Her voice, smug and sharp. They always believe me. I cry. I pause. I say, he made me feel small, and boom, instant victim. They never asked for proof. She laughed. And if it ever gets too close? I just say it's re-traumatizing to explain myself. No one pushes a survivor. She forwarded it to one person, her older sister. The same sister she claimed she hadn't spoken to in years. Turns out, that wasn't true. They talked often. Until 6 weeks ago. Until the sister heard the podcast, and the lies, and finally cracked. She'd held onto the file. Didn't know what to do with it. She didn't want to ruin her family, but she also couldn't watch her sister keep destroying people. When my lawyer reached out after the subpoena, she sent everything. Quietly. Without asking for anything in return. She added one note. Do what you need to do. I won't protect her anymore. We had it all now. The video. The coaching. The timeline. The confession. The false claims in court. The interviews. The abuse of real victims for personal gain. It was all there. Timestamped. Signed. Traceable. We drafted a full legal packet for criminal fraud, malicious defamation, perjury, and evidence tampering. If submitted, it would trigger not just a civil judgment, but real charges. Her face, her name, her story would fall apart in front of millions. We had it ready. One press of a button, and it would hit her lawyer, the district attorney, the state licensing board, and every brand that had ever endorsed her. The day before we planned to file, she showed up. No warning. No makeup. No smile. No cameras. Just her. At my brother's front door. She collapsed to her knees before I could speak. I know what you have, she choked out. My sister told me. Please, don't do this. Tears poured down her face, but there was no performance this time. Just fear. Real, desperate fear. I'll disappear. I'll sign anything. You can post the truth. Just, please, don't ruin everything. Don't ruin me. She pressed her forehead to the floor, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. I was wrong. About everything. About you. I thought you were weak. But you're not. You're not. I looked down at her, broken. Exactly where I'd once been. She wasn't faking. Not now. She knew the cost. And maybe that's why I did what I did. I walked back inside. Closed the folder. Turned off the screen. And deleted the packet. Not because she deserved mercy. But because I finally understood something. Power isn't what you do to someone. It's what you could have done, and chose not to. She stayed on the porch for an hour. Crying. Silent. Then gone. I never saw her again. Never needed to. And now? Now I sleep. Peacefully. Fully. With one question still burning in the minds of everyone who hears this story. What would you have done in my place?